Episode begins, and after making it to the top, Snuffy and his homeboy ride into the sunset on the solid gold whip, thinking about how amazing life is and that they should never quit dreaming. His bro tells him that he is never going to be a boring adult who works in a corporation. Snuffy also tells Mick that the world belongs to them, and while chugging a bottle of beer he tells them that they are the best, and that if he can't be the king of soccer he would rather die. Presently Snuffy looks at Barou crashing out and thrashing toward the goalpost. Everyone looks at him in a daze, wondering what is this all about. Oliver tells him to be careful. Nico wonders if he is going on a rampage. They try to reason with him, but he is done with their coordinated gameplay. After all, ever since he has accepted this so-called work, he has been dying to smash up their opponents. Snuffy looks at him in amusement, as Barou reveals that he always thought that he could steal Snuffy's techniques and everything would be worth it. And now that he has stolen his predator's eye, he doesn't need the team anymore. Members of Uber Italy start to worry, wondering if he is about to leave the team. Is he out of his mind? Gagamaru wonders if this is a falling out. Araichi tells them that it is the perfect time to steal the ball. Kunigami and Grim try to wrestle the ball away from Barou, and Snuffy coldly wonders if he is trying to deny him. Barou says that ever since the team has been under his leadership, he can't surpass or crush Isagi to his heart's content. He unexpectedly passes the ball to Oliver and tells him that he is all good to be his wingman, and that's what his purpose should be, to serve him. Oliver accepts him as his king, and they are about to reform their gameplay to a whole new level. He passes the ball to Nico, and Nico is not sure what pattern to follow. Oliver tells him that with the numerous patterns hammered into their heads, they can make one on the fly. Lorenzo smiles and is all pumped up. Drago also accepts this gameplay, and Isagi can't believe that the Ubers are changing their formation. The once disciplined team bowing their heads to Snuffy is now being served by a new lion taking over the pride. Ness wonders what the hell is with this team, and Yukimiya tells everyone to watch out for their body-needed attacks. Noah passes by Snuffy, asking him how it feels to have his pet bite his hand. Snuffy, on the other hand, is not enraged. He finds it amusing and amazing, telling Barou to go ahead and try, show him what he's got. He can use the team he has built to surpass his gameplay. Oliver is so happy that he starts laughing. He passes the ball to Oliver, and the ball goes back and forth between them. Barou tells Snuffy to shut his gap hole. The team that he has built is definitely amazing and world-class, and is the best environment for average players, but he doesn't have enough despair to evolve. Snuffy wonders what is he saying. Barou regrets consuming his soul. He was able to change. He was able to claw his way up to the surface. And now that he is in an ideal place, this comfort is killing his drive. After all, if he fails, it will be the master's fault, and he can't live that kind of life. If he holds the hope to become the best, he can't have a guaranteed future. He needs despair on the other side of the scales. Then his life will fall into pieces into one glorious puzzle. That risk is enough to make his soul tremble, to move him to dance to the tune of his despair. He wants the parachute to be ruthless, one where they can either hunt or be hunted. Isagi realizes that he is losing his marbles and planning to create a high-level world-class stage. He is swallowing everything else, and he imagined doing something like that, but Barou is making it happen. But Isagi refuses to let Barou have his way. He won't let it happen. Gagamaru is on the guard and he is in shooting range. He can't let him shoot. He won't let this villain swallow his team. The twin queens of Blue Lock arrive to guard the goalpost from Barou's ruthless attack. Barou welcomes the challenge. Isagi promises to crush him like a bomb. Isagi reasons that Barou has two options in front of him. If he wants to make a shot, he will have to pass by him, or the other option is on the far side. But either way, Gagamaru is ready, and he knows that if the shot goes through, he will react in time to make a split-second decision. And he is not the only defender. Kaiser is also in range. If a thing goes south, they can always block it, and the tiny opening will enable them to crush him. Unexpectedly, Barou doesn't shoot, but tries to bypass them. Isagi tries to tail him. He won't be making that shot, but Snuffy eyes all of a sudden, asking Barou what is wrong. He is the wild king of the jungle and he should shoot. Or is he trying to pass the ball to him? Maybe he has decided to seek help from a sensible grown-up. Snuffy continues to provoke him, saying that ego alone won't get him anywhere. Barou tells them that Blue Lock has hammered that lesson into his soul, but he still wants to try to change the world. He wants to live with his own set of rules, and he will blaze the trail with his strength. Isagi grits his teeth in frustration and anger as Barou is not just trying to bypass them, but he is repositioning himself to make the shot. He imagines a ferocious lion burning behind him. Right now, Barou is not a soccer player but the avatar for the primal hunting spirit. He doesn't want to live for a future someone else decides for him. Even if he is a brat, he will become the king. And if the day comes when he can't become the king, then he would rather go out in a blaze of glory. The twin kings of Blue Lock try to block his shot, but it's too late. The overwhelmingly powerful shot passes between their legs. They realize that he has been waiting for this moment for them to line up so that he can make a double nutmeg shot that no one could have predicted. Gagamaru has no clue what to do, and Oliver realizes it's a pure gamble. There is no design or elegance to it. It's just raw emotions and power. Noah and Snuffy are right in front of the ball, and Barou tells them to get out of the way. He doesn't need grown-up adults to decide for him. Snuffy smiles and the light in his eyes is reignited. He holds Noah off and gives birth to another nutmeg. The blazing goer smashes against the goalpost, and Italy Ubers have now tied with Bastard Mansion with 2 goals each. After parking his ride in the doorway, Snuffy knocks the door to his friend's mansion, recalling his words that they are the best in the world, and Mike is a prodigy chosen by God himself. But that day he found the prodigy lying in his own waste with drugs and booze bottles lying all around him. He recalls the start of their career with Mike, complaining that he doesn't want a partner who is huge, and Snuffy wondering why is he paired up with a tiny idiot. He recalls their days of glory, their days of brotherhood, with Mike telling him that the goal is nothing but force, and Snuffy saying that he can beat a brat with nothing but speed. They would fight, they would laugh, and they would celebrate together with baddies by their side. They would then go on long rides in luxurious cars. They were living the life, and the two of them were inseparable. That was before Mike started doing drugs. They were kicked off the starting line and they weren't doing well, not like last season. But Mike would drown his sorrows in alcohol, saying that they just had a little too much fun, and it was time to get serious. But Snuffy would break his dream, saying that they are finished on this team. The front line doesn't trust them anymore. They need to start from square one, a lower-ranked team. But Mike would not heed his advice, saying that they are kings, and they will play big or go home. Snuffy would try to make Mike look at reality. They are washed-up players now, and the world of soccer is moving very fast. Total nobodies can become superstars overnight, and they are on the other side of that spectrum. If things keep changing, new prayers will pop up and they need to grow up. The time has come for them to choose a new future wisely. But Mike would just brush him off, wondering what about their team? To crush the 5 major leagues, and they have done one so far. But Snuffy would tell him that they need to rethink things. But Mike would brutally point out that he has died. He is not the same person as he played with. He is now just a washed-up loser, an underdog. Snuffy would decide to leave Mike to his fate, and Mike would laugh, saying that he is going to change his life, and he will give him a last piece of advice. No matter what period they are living in, the one who breathes new life into the world is not the wise adults who do things right. It's revolutionary ladies. It's brats who have too much passion for their good. Snuffy remembered their exchange as he hugged Mike's frail body, apologizing because he couldn't see the same dream as him. Their dreams could not be carried on. But now it seems as if their dreams will find a new bearer. The team goes wild, celebrating around Barou, saying that he is the king of the kings. Lorenzo is a skeptic, and Oliver is beside himself. Even Nico is glad, saying that he is the new villain king. Barou tells Snuffy what he thinks about him now. Snuffy tells him that that's a nice goal and it's like he has one of them. But the goal wasn't in his designs, so it will be a win for his ego. Barou, on the other hand, says that he doesn't want his praise. His work with him is over. He is going to say this as a lone soccer player, winning the 5 major leagues and fulfilling his debt friend deal, then retiring without regrets. Is this the life of a wise adult? And he doesn't want to let a second-rate striker run off with a trophy like that. As long as he is on the field, he must withdraw his retirement. They haven't settled things yet. Snuffy smiles and wonders about Mike and what he said at the end. He finally decides that he is going to continue his service. He will be the best in the world. And from now on, he will also be a brat with dreams till the day he dies. The team is so mirthful that they can't get enough of Barou. Now that Snuffy the Phoenix is back, Barou tells Isagi that it's time to settle this once and for all. The team is so mirthful that they start simping for Barou. The crowd goes wild looking at Barou's unpredictable super goal, and Snuffy has reacted by putting a pin in his retirement plans. This news is bound to shake the world of soccer. The Italy Ubers are in high spirits, but Isagi is so furious, he can't contain his rage. Barou has taken everything away from himself. He was aiming for it the whole time, and when he timed his shot to pass through his legs, he took over Uber's entire system to steal his goal. He has gotten him with his supreme visualization, and he has devoured everything. Raichi looks at Isagi on the verge of having a stroke. He apologizes for not being able to stay on Snuffy the whole time. Isagi looks at him and tells him it's fine. His play worked. They couldn't get that point because he couldn't read through well enough. Raichi looks at him in concern as he says that he is so close, but he can't visualize how to beat them. The pieces of the puzzles are not moving in harmony. He can't beat Barou or Kaiser, and there's something else. Only 3 minutes have elapsed, and it's time for the start-change system. It's time for the two masters to leave the field and change plays. Isagi realizes he's so focused that he forgot about the time, and it means that their members are changing as well. Snuffy smiles because they're in the lead now. Sendo is going up next, and he's all pumped after hearing his master cancel his retirement plans. No one, on the other hand, wonders who should he substitute for. Corona. Corona is badly hurt and his legs are twitching. His fellow players tell him not to sweat it. He should just relax. Noah decides that he should pick Kiora. As Kiora is about to go, Isagi tells them to wait. He tells Noah that they can't win this way. Noah asks for his opinion. Isagi tells Kiora that he's an accident choice. His skills are top-notch and his talent is on par with Corona's. In order to beat Ubers right now, nothing will change with a calculator replacement. They need a game-changer, someone who will breathe new ideas into the system. Noah wonders what's he getting at. The team's rule is that players with the highest number play in the gilling. To deny that and use another player. Does he have a reason for that? Isagi says that it's for him to score a goal. He wants to use Hiori so that he can become this match's hero. Hiori looks at him in surprise. Isagi apologizes to Corona as he just wants to try playing with Hiori. He uses his eyes and brains like he does, and he's the only one who can follow along with his visualization. It's just one step away and he needs this. A buddy who can give him a scoring pass. Noah, on the other hand, doesn't want to make this decision on childish emotions. He will only accept rational theories. Hiori says that if they had another player who could take a bird's-eye view of the vision and the field, they could see where Isagi wants them to support him, and that would reduce Isagi's thinking time and increase their play speed. Their opponents would feel like being against two Isagis, and it's a very rational plan. Hiori finally accepts Isagi's role as Isagi's shadow, his doppelganger. After being forced all his life by his parents, and when he got sick of their expectations, he started hating soccer so much that he had no idea what to do. But right now he feels something is different. He feels he needs to do something. He puts on his gloves and requests Noah to reconsider. For the first time in his life, he has expectations for himself. Noah accepts and tells Isagi that if he fails, he's off the starting lineup. Will he still do it? And Isagi's eyes burn brightly, promising to deliver what he has promised them. Hiori is the last piece he needs to complete his goal. The score is tied up between the two teams and the game is changing, moving towards its climax. Snuffy is out of the game, and at this point they have no other choice but to trust Barou. He wonders if Barou will surpass his designs by inventing a new kind of goal. Oliver, Ness, and Drogo are excited to see what the game will hold for them. Even Snuffy is excited. He tells Barou to take responsibility for stealing his team. Barou tells him to shut it. He better worry about his future. And Snuffy smiles, teasing him to worry about his future as well and show him what he's got. The whole team is pumped, while Blue Lock is down in the dumps. Noah apologizes to Kiora, promising to use him in the next match, and he must not let his blade rust in the meantime. Hiori stretches his arms and tells Isagi that he's thankful for the nomination. Isagi looks away, saying that it's not a favor or anything. He just needs to use him as a tool, and he wonders if he can use metavision as well. Hiori says that the peripheral vision thing that he has mentioned before, indeed he can. Isagi says that he was snuffed by Snuffy. And how did that look to him? Hiori says that if that pass had gone to Isagi's feet, they would have won. Isagi smiles as this makes things much easier. Now they have the same mindset. Though Hiori doesn't want to blame Yukimiya for that one, it was his dribbling that created the chance in the first place. He then asks if he has a plan. Isagi nervously says that he has no plan. Hiori laughs, pointing out that he was so confident when he picked him. And Isagi wonders what he expects. The team is changing players, so he had no choice but to make a wild guess. Since Uber is evolving right now, they have a lot of vulnerabilities. They can use their metavision to pick out the openings, and that's how they will win. Hiori realizes their plan depends on having the best insight and analysis, like a shared imagination. Hiori wonders why Isagi's expectations don't feel bad or heavy, unlike those of his parents. Something inside of him is trying to change at this very moment. Noah tells Snuffy without looking at him that this is an emotional strategy for him, and is it because he is trying to relive his youth? Snuffy tells him to shut it, and he also understands why he is so obsessed with Isagi. He is a gifted and talented young man. Noah also compliments Barou. In terms of strikers, he is probably the best in the U20 category. Snuffy smiles and takes pride in Barou, and seeing them go at each other's throats reminds him of their rivalry. Noah tells him to stop comparing their rivalry to this new generation. He wants the new generation to surpass them. And Snuffy says that if they both keep on growing at this rate, nothing in Japan can stop them from winning the World Cup. Their dreams will be realized. Ness, on the other hand, is on the verge of wetting his pants. Ubers are evolving, and Isagi is troublesome in his own unique way, and he wonders what will he do for Kaiser. Kaiser walks next to him asking what's wrong. Why is he panicking like a little girl? Ness asks Kaiser what he should do, and he tells Ness to take a good look. In every context, they are opening. Whatever that muscle-bound red gorilla is thinking, Isagi will try to outwit him, and they will use that opening to screw them over. Lorenzo smiles, once again giving everyone a good look at his solid gold teeth. He promises to present Barou with a gold tooth, but Barou tells him to knock it off. Lorenzo tells Barou that he's grateful to him. This is the first time he's seen Snuffy all fired up. Barou says that in that case, he wants to score the last point, and the whole team agrees. Italy Ubers is like a traditional family looking out for each other. Blue Log is a toxic and chaotic family that meets up once a year for Thanksgiving. Gagamaru promises to do his best. Yukimiya wants to polish himself in this match. Raichi wants everyone to get pumped. Snuffy isn't here anymore and they can change things up. The climax is here. The teams are heated, and the match is about to start. Who will score the final point? Will Isagi emerge as the star of the match? Can he use Hiori as his new trump card? The game pair starts and Isagi vows that he will become the king in this match. Kaiser is in the lead, dribbling the football with surgical precision, but Barou arrives ready to tackle him head-on. With no trace of his usual humor, Kaiser tells him to knock it off. He's nothing but a spiky red gorilla. Ness can't believe that Barou is so bold. He's starting completely differently than the last time they played. The ball goes on to Ness and he tries to draw him near. He zigzags through a couple of players and tries to close in. Italy Ubers all upon Ness, but he hands the ball to Kaiser. Kaiser compliments him for being a good boy and he should rest easy now. Kaiser moves through the field like a phantom, and no one can believe how he's charging up to the center at top speed, all on his own. Everyone is trying to stop him from striking. Kaiser tries to use his metavision to find the perfect position for a blazing Kaiser impact. It will be an instant kill. He locks in and notices an opening between the defenders and shoots. But Lorenzo arrives with his big head, deflecting the goal and sending it flying through the air. Isagi looks at the ball and this is within his expectations. He tries to take the shortest route to get to the point where it will land so he can steal it and make it his own. But Oliver arrives, ready to strike like a coiled-up cobra. It turns out he's another user of metavision. They're seeing the same things. And Isagi curses him, but his fellow meta-user Hiori arrives in the nick of time, managing to save the ball. But Barou tells him to move aside and make way for the king. As he's about to wrestle the goal away, Nico manages to pry the ball away from Hiori, making swift work of the newly joined player. Nico says that Uber takes good care of their employees. He has coordinated with Barou to swoop in and steal the ball, and Barou is now charging from the front line, taking off the grunt work by himself. Now they'll have to consider another factor while making their playoff. Right now, the Ubers are trying to support Barou and his movement, so he just needs to follow their pattern. But ultimately, Barou is a lone wolf. He's a fusion of a king selfishly fighting for his glory and a perfectly designed group of powerful soldiers. He's a nasty chimera yelling Edward. Right now, Ubers are going hand in hand with Barou's ego and idea. Everything is going through an explosive evolution. Nico makes a run for the front line, saying that everyone will be on guard for a double nutmeg. So what's the plan? Lorenzo smiles like a jester, saying that they're evolving from Ubers to Uberus. Barou tells them to shut up. He's going to find a goal in that baby. He's going to prove to the world that he's the strongest in the Neo-Negos League. Hiori realizes that things are looking bad for them. The Ubers are just too powerful. They're fast and skilled, and he can't read them. He can't find a way in. And is this what world class feels like? He can't believe how amazing Isagi is, trying to make a goal for himself in the middle of all of these monsters, such as Kaiser and Barou, and also managing to score at this high level of intensity. This battlefield is way too crazy. For the first time in his life, Hiori feels a fire burning in his chest. He's about to play soccer like never before. Hiori remembers his parents crashing out over his precious leg being broken. They couldn't believe something like this could happen. And was this what they had worked so hard to raise him for? He remembers them rushing him to the hospital. Ever since the day he realized that he was nothing more than a tool for his parents to fulfill their lifelong dream. And that's the day his reason for playing soccer totally changed. At first, he used to play to make his parents proud and happy, but right now he just keeps it to keep his family from falling apart. He remembers spending the days listlessly playing video games. The only reason he plays soccer is for his family, and it makes him sick in the stomach. Even though he knows it's wrong, there's nothing else he wants to do. Nothing else that will make him sever these heavy chains laid upon him. And as he goes through the motions, seeing each day pass by, he remembers Karasu telling him that his play is mediocre at best. He should not worry about what others think of him, but he should build himself from scratch, make his own expectations, see what gets his blood pumping, and that's the only way he can start living his life. But it's easier said than done. After all, expectations have been laid upon him all his life. It's a curse, and that's the only reason he's here in Blue Law. He just doesn't want to go home, and that's his only egoistical wish. Hiori slams the ball into one of the players' faces, giving him a free Botox. The only thing that lets him survive this hellish reality is Blue Lock. But Italy's Ubers are on a whole different level. They're in the lead, and Raichi yells at his team to stop their advance. The ball passes effortlessly to Barou. Hiori sprints towards him. He has never experienced such high coordination between a team. It's like Barou leads them like a king by giving it his all. It's not only selfishness, but he has something out of this world. He's a great king who inspires people, even though he's selfish and crazy. But he also has an iron will and talent that make others love him. After all, he has won Oliver, Lorenzo, and Nico by his side. Hiori realizes that those sorts of qualities are what make a king stand out among the others, someone with an ego who loves to lead. He then looks at Isagi, even though he doesn't have any grand dreams. However, at this moment, he has found someone who sees the same future as him, who's trying to become the world's best, and he holds the key to Isagi's awakening. Hiori looks at him with blazing eyes, realizing that he's the only one who can spearhead Isagi's evolution. If he hadn't come to Blue Log and met him, if he hadn't been here, they would have never met. And now Isagi is his sole reason to keep on fighting, to make him the world's best striker. And if he lets this chance slip by, his talent will be buried and lost forever. Only Hiori can open his talent, because he's the key. Hiori activates Meta Vision, which gets an eagle-eye view of the entire field. Now he has a future to fight for, a will to live for. He wants to make Isagi the greatest king of soccer. He looks at Lorenzo, who intercepts the ball and the pass, and as Kaiser and Isagi try to wrestle the ball away, Lorenzo kicks it towards Barou. Isagi realizes that things aren't looking right. They're almost at the penalty area, but in the nick of time, Hiori arrives, intercepting the pass like a pro, yelling that someone else is on the field who can use Metavision. They look at him in surprise, as Hiori realizes it's not fate that someone else chose him. He's the key to the future he has found himself wishing for. He asks his fellow egoists if they're ready to dance. Nico wonders if he is for real, and Oliver is shaking in his boots, but Lorenzo smiles, welcoming the challenge. If not for Hiori, the match would have been over. Isagi yells, complimenting Hiori for a nice interception. He has grasped a spot even he couldn't see, and filled a hole in their defense. They start advancing towards the opposing line. Hiori is spearheading the charge and zigzagging through enemy lines. They wonder how he can be a slippery dribbler. At this moment, Hiori can see everything. He can even pass a needle. a thread through a needle with complete precision, and he's sharing this worldview with Isagi. They're moving through the goal like a well-oiled machine. Surprisingly, Hiori passes the ball to Yukiya, as the way he uses his eyes, his IQ, and his direct shots is amazing. He also thinks that Isagi has lots of outstanding abilities, but at his core, it is his ability to devour his rivals on the field that makes him stand out, and if he had never come to Blue Lock, his ego would never have blossomed him into this lean, mean killing machine. His spirit is so powerful that he can devour anyone he wants. He's pushing Isagi to become the world's best, and he holds the key to Isagi's final evolution. He will see the birth of a hero who will change the history of soccer, and Hiori is glad that he's the only one who will appreciate his originality. That's what's driving him forward, and that's what is becoming his core desire, to play. The other team looks at them in a daze, wondering what is up with this demonic duo weaving through the field like wizards. Hiori is getting into his groove as his meta-vision is evolving by the second, and he has a fellow meta-vision user to support his passes. They have synchronized thinking, and as the ball shoots towards Isagi, Isagi smiles. It's a perfect shot. But surprisingly, Lorenzo and Oliver are on him. Lorenzo has even given him a new name, calling him Demon-san. But Isagi is too far along to let these two clowns stop him. He dribbles the ball away from them. The first attack was a feint, and he arcs the ball away from the duo, trying to use his left leg to make a direct shot. But Kaiser is furious, tearing through the field, as he is unable to accept Isagi as the new ruler of their team. He has managed to anticipate that he would dodge Lorenzo to shoot with his left leg, and has been planning to snatch the ball away mid-air. At this point, he is a hyena. The two kings of Blue Lock kick the ball at the same time, and now it's an intense showdown between Kaiser's impact and the direct shot. Barou tries to block the shot and manages to deflect his trajectory. Isagi grits his teeth in frustration as Kaiser keeps him from hitting the ball properly. He already can't believe it. Even though he had perfect synchronization with Isagi, Kaiser was able to surpass them and make an unexpected move, and Barou was also able to make an unpredictable recovery by stopping the shot. They are playing a world-class match, and this match is evolving everyone at a breakneck speed. At this point, it's not a game anymore, but a Darwinian match of survival of the fittest. They need another piece to control the match. The ball soars through the air, and everyone has their eyes glued on it. Kunigami and Ryu try to intercept the ball. Ryu breaks the ball's trajectory with a header, and Oliver holds his horses as it's not the time to move. But just as Kaiser is about to steal the ball, Oliver arrives, blocking him. The ball soars past them back to Hiori. Isagi hears from Hiori that they will try another time, and Hiori locks in. Once again, Isagi is pinning his expectations on him, and once again, they will try building momentum. A new attack formation so that they can surpass their rivals with one more step. He will try his best to reach a future that Isagi is hoping for. He feels his parents floating behind him, cheering him on. But rather than inspiring him, it feels like their expectations are weighing him down. He feels their expectations intermingle with Isagi's. Right now, he's trying to live up to Isagi's expectations. Isagi looks at him with a sense of urgency, telling him to make a pass. Hiori looks at him in a daze. Surprisingly, he doesn't hate Isagi's expectations. He also starts hallucinating about ego, telling him that this is what a striker does. Hiori realizes that the final move they are missing is his own shot. Isagi yells at Hiori to look at him. Hiori looks at him in surprise. Isagi has been his ride or die since day one, but ego's hallucination is telling him to shoot. Hiori is torn between which future he should choose. He recalls his buddy telling him that he should make his expectations, find what makes him excited, and that's the only place he can start. He finally sees it, and up till now, he has never made a choice. He never lived his own life, and he was pinning everything on his parents. He was running away from their expectations. He was scared of losing at soccer, that nobody would want to love him, and he would end up as a hollow shell. Hiori blasts away, realizing he's hopeless. How long will he keep on acting unmotivated? He's going to stop using other people's expectations as excuses and have some real fun. He finally shatters the shackles holding him back from giving his best. He was born to play soccer, and if it's true, then this shot will become his future. He shoots for the first time in his life with everything he's got. The ball blazes past Isagi, zooms past Oliver and Lorenzo. Kaiser tries to stop it, and even Shando tries to stop it, but in the nick of time he manages to deflect the ball. Hiori looks at his shot, being slapped away in sadness. His expectations start shattering, but Isagi is looking at him with a new brush of inspiration. He tells Hiori that he has found his superb victory theory. All of the players pause for a moment, trying to recover from the high-intensity play. Hiori is visibly shaken as doubts start creeping into his mind that he's not someone worth saving, and he is not someone who was born to play soccer. He looks at Oliver and Kaiser, battling each other to gain superiority. Up till now, his life has been nothing but sadness, and even so, he tries to believe that soccer was his reason for living. He remembers his dad and his mom, smiling like hypocrites, telling him to give it his all to make them proud by winning a gold medal. Hiori has had enough and finally decides that he's going to quit playing soccer. It's not his cup of tea anymore. It's time for him to become the hollow shell he was destined to be, to try to live his life without soccer. He closes his eyes in resignation as he can finally leave soccer. But Isagi is not done with him. He feels his mentality unraveling and calls out to Hiori, pleading with him to go for another shot. Hiori looks at him in surprise, wondering why is Isagi trying to rope him in again, even though he went against his plan. Raiji and another player are yelling their heads off to counter each other's plans. Hiori, on the other hand, wonders why Isagi still has expectations for him even though he betrayed him to make a direct shot. Why is he still expecting? Isagi yells at Hiori not to look, not to think, and just bursts through to go one step beyond their imagination and act reflexively. The ball shoots past Oliver, and Hiori wonders what he means to move reflexively. He remembers saying the same words to Isagi back then, and why is he bringing it up? Is this a secret message for him and he can't get it? Why is Isagi trying to make him believe in himself again? He remembers his parents cheering him on, while in reality, they were dragging him to hell. The ultimatum of their divorce was hanging over his head like a sword. But right now, Isagi's expectations are different. They aren't forced towards something he can't change as his expectations are for goals. They are directed towards a future he can change. Isagi is searching for a kindred spirit, a brother who can make the future he visions come true, and that's why he needs to give it his all again. Yukimiya tries to intercept the ball, but Barou is all over him. Raichi and Kunigami yell at Barou, trying to pincer him, but Barou is too powerful and shoves them away, ready to make the shot again. The confusing shot zooms towards Gagamaru, and Kunigami manages to deflect it. Isagi compliments Kunigami, but Kunigami says that he's just doing what he thinks best. Hiori wonders why he can't become a hollow shell. He just wants to go home and play video games. He just wants to quit soccer. While Hiori is going through his existential crisis, Gagamaru shoots the ball through the air, going for a long pass, and even though he has a lot on his plate, Hiori intercepts the ball, calling Isagi a dumbass. This is going to be his final attack as a soccer player, and he'll glow along with Isagi's crazy dream. Hiori looks at the ball in his grasp as the announcer yells that Bastard Mansion has the ball again. Will they make a counterattack and bring this match full circle? Nico tries to rush Hiori, promising to crush him and his design. Lorenzo also arrives, trying to go for a pincer attack, but Hiori has had enough. He doesn't want to hear the yapping anymore and shoots the ball and zigzags past them with a feint. The ball passes to Isagi, and Isagi pleads with Hiori to follow him. Hiori looks at him in surprise, thinking to himself that he can't do anything if not for Hiori. Lorenzo looks at the masterclass passes and is getting his freak on. Nico, on the other hand, is sweating and panicking. Hiori manages to zigzag away from the defenders. He promises himself that he will quit soccer when this match ends. He is going to quit soccer no matter what. He repeats this line over and over again like his mantra. On one hand, he wonders what he is doing. He doesn't get it. And is he an idiot? What is this unfamiliar feeling? Why does he want to play with Isagi? Is it out of kindness or friendship? And if he puts his feelings into words, he just wants to see if this idiot is the real deal, and if he truly is the key to the world's best striker. If he gives birth to the moment the world changes, his brain starts working overtime, and he too has an insatiable ego. The reason why he plays soccer, why his body and mind act without thinking, is Isagi, and this dream he has now, and now he knows what it feels like to have expectations for himself. His new goal is to quit soccer, and ironically, he makes a world-class pass to Isagi. He looks at the field with his metavision, wondering if they will go for the last pass. Maybe now is the best time, but he decides that it is still too early. He needs to see the enemy line, and if he passes now, they will read their moves. All of a sudden, Isagi freezes, and he wonders why he is freezing. He wonders what Isagi is up to. He can't pass if he doesn't move. Does he want him to shoot? What is he thinking? Isagi looks at him, and he recalls him saying that he should act reflexively. He has finally caught on to what he plans to do. He wonders if they can pull it off because it's the biggest blind spot on the field, and in theory, it should be possible. Isagi tells Hiori to come on. He knows he can do it, and Hiori also agrees. Hiori, is going to be the center of this new world. He raises his foot, ready to strike and make a name for himself. Hiori continues his relentless charge, and Nico tries to read his moves, but he can't. It's too sharp and fast, but he needs to slow his attack, and based on how they are coordinated, Isagi must be waiting for a pass, so the players try to block him off. Oliver realizes that they are trying to search for a gap in the coordination and anticipate the trajectory. Isagi is also trying to sprint towards Isagi, trying to steal the last goal. Isagi silently pleads that Hiori doesn't take his eyes off Isagi. Kaiser, on the other hand, promises to stab him in the back. Hiori, on the other hand, is dribbling like crazy. He's so fast that the ball is creating after images, and it confuses Nico. Hiori manages to trick Nico, and the players brace for another pass coming towards Isagi. But Oliver realizes something is wrong. Hiori is not looking at Isagi, but at the ball. Is he planning to score by himself? Lorenzo realizes what's going on and tries to intercept the ball and keep him from shooting. But Hiori manages to flick the ball away with a feint. They wonder what the hell he is trying to do. Barou arrives, wondering if he's really going to pass or something, and he won't let that be. He saw through it all and will shut his pass off. He can't do anything without looking at Isagi. Hiori, on the other hand, tells him that it's too late. His visualization has already moved outside his brain. They wonder what's up with him. Isagi, on the other hand, moves away from all the players blocking him, and Hiori is ready for Isagi. The team and duo aren't even looking at each other because their brains are connected. Their brain cells intermingled into one. The ball speeds towards Isagi, and this is the deciding moment to see if they're the real team. If they can take the visualization to the next level and smash them together. Isagi smashes the ball with everything he's got, and it slams into the goalpost, bringing Bastard Mansion into the limelight again. Both Hiori and Isagi start celebrating their dynamic victory. They will meet each other beyond their dreams. This is the dream team they've been thinking of. Kaiser, Ness, and even the chairman are visibly shaken by what has transpired. Gagamaru celebrates their magnificent strike, and Isagi is the MVP of the match. Oliver and Nico are slumped, wondering what the hell these two are. They've twisted each other, and Nico whispers that it shouldn't be possible. He can't believe this will work. At the moment, they were so synced up that they were moving without eye contact. It's impossible unless those two sync up perfectly. Their thought process and the things they saw on the field needed to be the same. Lorenzo smiles, giving everyone a good view of his gold grill. They've been destroyed by the two new kings of Blue Lock. Attacks so surprising that they couldn't have anticipated with their perfect designs. They were sharing a vision that surpassed logic and theory. It was a risky gamble for them to pull off. It was a do-or-die situation, and they have to pay respect to the two crazy bastards. They're the heroes of the match, and that gold was worth 100 billion. Barou, on the other hand, is too furious. Ness is in the middle of an existential crisis. They didn't even make eye contact. And what kind of chemical reaction is that? Kaiser starts crashing out. His ego and anger are consuming him, and a strange darkness flashes across his face. Meanwhile, Hiori and Isagi are in the middle of their bromance. Isagi thanks him for amazing gameplay. His shot inspired him to act flexibly. He used his shot as a decoy so they could create a split-second opening. And if they had complete trust in each other, they could do it. He thanks him for going along with his selfish demands. Hiori says that he never thought he could use expectations like this. It won't work even if both parties understand and play off each other. And it's not about one's desire to support the other. The partnership could only work if both parties believe the other eyes sees the same winning vision. When he realized that he could play freely, a whole new world opened before him, and he thanks Isagi for that. Isagi wants them to become the world's best duo. But Hiori apologizes as he won't be playing this kind of tag team football with him anymore. From now on, he will play a different football that will produce the world's best striker. Isagi wonders if Hiori is going rogue. Hiori says that he was planning on quitting after this match. After all, being a part of the goal and after experiencing the thrill and the ego, there's no way Hiori can win. If strikers can't understand and keep up with his pace, he'll discard them without a second thought. And that goes for Isagi as well. Isagi grins, telling him that this is quite contrary to his calm demeanor. And is he a sadist or something? He smiles, saying that he is an ultra-sadist, and from now on, he will be the most selfish person in the world. He tells Isagi it was nice to meet him, and Isagi feels the same. The match comes to an end with Buster Munchen stealing the goal and the victory from Uber Italy. Meanwhile, at another match, Manshine City is going against PXG. The two players are going head-to-head for the goalpost, but Rin manages to make the decisive pass. Everyone holds their breath, trying to see how the match will come about. Nagi calls him a monster because his core strength and dribbling skills are off the charts. He has the specs of an absolute unit and has evolved beyond comprehension. PXG manages to steal the win, and Rin tells Isagi to prepare himself as he will destroy him utterly and completely. And at the same time, Manshine City is going neck-to-neck with Italy Ubers, and Italy Ubers seem to have the upper hand. This is the 8th match between the two titans. While PXG flexes its firepower, at the same time, in another part of Blue Lock, Uber and Manshine City are exchanging blows, and chaos is erupting on the two battlefields. Chris yells at Agi to pass to Nagi. He immediately complies and passes it to Nagi. Nagi manages to intercept the ball, and Oliver tells his buddy, "Here he comes." They must activate the anti-genius defense, but Nagi locks in and challenges them to try to stop him. He whizzes past Oliver and another player, but just as he has locked his eyes on the goalpost, Lorenzo arrives, giving him a good view of his gold grills. While wriggling his tongue like a freak, he tells Nagi that it's too bad that he's not the only one who's special on the field. Nagi hesitates for a moment, too surprised to act. Rio rushes to Nagi, telling him not to think, but to act. He must shoot now or forever hold his silence. He yells at Nagi to focus on the goal, and focus he does. He shoots straight for the goal, but Lorenzo throws him off his course, and Oliver intercepts him with a world-class header. He smiles like a maniac, telling Nagi that he's too slow and if this is really all he's got. He teases Nagi, wondering where his passion came from when he was facing off against Isagi. Isagi thinks they are good enough for him. Lorenzo looks at him, saying that this block is now worth 80 million. Nagi curses as the ball soars away right into the barbarian king's grasp. Barou activates his predator eyes, and lightning crackles around him. Rio realizes things aren't looking good for them as Barou tells them to get out of their way. There's nothing that will sway him in his journey to the goalpost. He basically teleports past players and even dazes Rio as he slides past Barou. Barou passes the ball to Nico, who tells him that their design is cutting edge, the best in the field. And Barou agrees. He locks in and ignores everything except for the goalpost and the goalkeeper. He unleashes a shot with devastating power and precision. But the goalkeeper is no ordinary goalkeeper. With the reflexes of a cheetah, he manages to deflect the ball. Hayama looks at him like a jaguar swatting away a lion's attempt to snatch his prey. He even meows while teasing him. The ball goes into Shando's grasp, and he lets loose another shot, much to their despair. Oliver celebrates their victory as the match comes to an end with the Neo-Egoist League at its end. Uber defeats Manshine City with 3-1 goals. Nagi and everyone else are breathless and in a daze. Ajay says that as things stand, the two of them won't be able to level up anymore. He also cautions them that the last match will be their next big chance. They will ultimately become NPCs, and they will also have to end their relationship if they need to establish a name for themselves. Rio wonders why he should heed his advice. He should just shut it and go back to where he came from. But Aji points out that he is being too codependent, and if he really wants to become stronger and to grow and evolve into a world-class player, then he will have to make tough choices. Just aside those who are precious to him, clearly referring to Nagi. Nagi, on the other hand, is in an existential crisis. He asks Barou what his goal is, what drives him to play football with such intensity. Barou looks at him, wondering if he is a little soft in the head or something. He tells him that his goal is to become the world's best player, unparalleled in soccer. Nagi wonders what happens after he achieves that. Barou takes a moment to reflect and explains that he will define an era of football as its king, and he will destroy those who dare to challenge him from his throne. Nagi is taken aback by his intensity and his dream to become the king of football. Barou then asks a question of his own, wondering what is up with his half-baked and weak-willed questions. Because right now, he is not even annoyed at their defeat. So what is up with it? It is as if the drive that pushed him to reach new heights is gone, and he can't feel his usual annoying competitive flair anymore. He continues that all he sees right now is a loser pretending to fight because he's lost his edge. Instead of cheering him up, Barou hits him with a reality check to go hit rock bottom in despair because he is a wimp. And unless he has some serious soul-searching adventures, he will have to let go of his half-baked ego. With such a weak ego, he won't stand a chance on the world stage. Meanwhile, many miles away, PXG is going against Barca, and PXG manages to score a goal. In the remaining victory of their opponents, Raichi crashes out and starts fangirling for Shido and Gagamaru and gives him the title of an acrobatic diving header. Hiori, on the other hand, says that even though he came by, together with Otoya and Bakiara helping him, in the end, it wasn't enough. And thanks to Shido's goal, PXG won. Isagi whispers in disbelief that only they are undefeated in the league. Aside from PXG, that means the match will be an all-out battle to determine the champion of the Neo-Egoist League. It will be a battle between the crazy Shido and his acrobatic headers versus Isagi and Isver to taunt everyone who stands in front of him. The stage is set for the best of the best to rise. Back at the training ground, Jin is having a little sparring session with Gurumu, and he manages to whiz past him and send him flying on his back. Gurumu curses and tells Jin that he wants to go another round, and Jin immediately complies. Noah is noticing their play from a distance. Back in the monitor room, the Red Kings are about to be revealed. Yukimiya scratches his chin while wondering if this match is the last one for the Italian team. Barou and the rest of the Italians will be getting their last salary offer. Isagi holds his breath, waiting for the new ranking to be revealed, and he wants to see who he needs to overcome. A total of 35 players have received offers up till now, and only the top 23 will be representing Japan in the U20. Shindo manages to make it as the 13th player. Nijiro is the 24th player, and Raichi can't believe that he barely made it as the 23rd player. Isagi is ranked in the 11th position, and he looks at his ranking in disbelief, calling out to his buddy and saying that it happened again. Rio is starting to panic as they are going down in the ranking, and at this rate, they will drop out of the spotlight. Shido, on the other hand, has managed to shoot through the rankings to the 4th rank and has a hefty 100 million bid. He smiles and sets his eyes on the 1st position. The 2nd position is tied up with Barou and Isagi. Barou has finally caught up to his rival, but Rin remains undefeated and approachable on his Iron Throne with a salary offer of 198 million yen. Isagi looks at his rival in despair, barely believing that he has managed to outdo himself. Shido explains that the conditions have been set. Those who stand at the borderline, those who are aiming to overthrow their competitors, and those who are trying to steal the number 1 spot, everyone has their own objectives. He also reminds them that the team has a single objective for them to calmly and rationally display their abilities and achieve victory. He tells his players to start their strategy meeting for one last time, and he also wishes them good luck. The players are getting ready in the changing room. Loki is typing something on his iPad, saying that he needs them to become a singularity. Isagi is going over everyone's weak points so that they can improve. He tells Rin that out of 4 shots taken, 3 were within limits, and though it's a good ratio, he needs to try to increase his number of shots. He tells Shidut that he has shot 12 times, but only 3 were within limits. He's shooting too much and needs to work hard to boost his range a bit more and increase his precision. He also tells Karasu to raise his chances of winning and Zantatsu to increase his sprint reps. He tells Tokumitsu to coordinate with him at the back line. While Charles is trying to sneak away, Loki says that they must polish their football touch skill and immediately shoots the ball right at Charles's back. He coldly looks at him, saying that he hasn't been told what to do yet. Charles looks at him apologetically, saying that his meetings are always long and boring. He just wants to go. He wonders how many times he will have to tell him. The reason he has joined the Neo-Egoist League is to develop himself. He tells Charles that he needs a passer who can help him become the world's best, and he has the talent for that. On top of that, he's 13 or 15, much younger than him. As the best in the world, they will carry the future of French soccer. Charles, on the other hand, tries to cover his ears, barely able to hear everything. Loki approaches him, saying that he still has an alarming lack of his abilities and experience. And after all, he's here to study. Charles looks at him cheerfully, wondering if he's done. And Loki tells him that he can't go along playing a careful little prince much longer. But Charles just smiles, saying that he doesn't want to do what he's told. Loki looks away, saying that he doesn't need to listen anymore. Charles freezes up and leaves his seat, promising to listen now. Loki tells everyone to hear him out. They performed a trial run using 2 of Rin and Shido's systems, and that was the experience to draw out Charles's ability in making passes, to do different strikers, each with their own specific set of rules. Loki continues that the other players have responded well, and while making choices, they made a case for their own existence. He explains that they have managed to boost their level of play, and they are becoming a productive team by cultivating and experimenting with their individual talents. Loki smiles, telling them that it's their last chance to beat bastard Munchen. They are an outstanding team, much like them, and they are also undefeated. He also explains that, true to his nature, Noah is using Caesar and Isagi as the twin kings of Blue Lord. He is forcing their 2 systems to coexist. Even though it's not harmonious, it's still working as an irregular and weird output system. In their case, they have their twin kings as well, and they alternate every 15 minutes by switching their players. Shido voices out that their system seems more interesting. Charles wonders why it's a barbaric way to play soccer, but he tells if their PXG will have Rin and Shido coexist and intercept the enemy with their own irregular play. Shido smiles, saying that it will be like a kaiju battle royale. 4 kings are facing off against one another. Loki says that the strategy will be very difficult to come up with. They need to make good use of the 2-headed beast, referring to Rin and Shido. They must defeat bastard Manshine at every turn, and this is their final homework assignment. Charles tries to block out his voice by covering his ears, but it's too late. He's already been assigned his new assignment. Chapter 2, 147. Rio is going through the public forums and comments regarding their last play, and it is filled with negative comments about their duo, how they are dragging their team through the dirt. Some even call Nagi a one-hit wonder and his super goal was a fluke. Some show pity for the drop in their rankings. These hurtful comments are too much for Rio to bear. He calls out to Nagi and asks him if they can talk for a second. Nagi swears profusely and wonders what's up. Rio tries to find the right words, saying that he is down to 16th place with 34 million, looking bright for them, with a cutoff point at 23rd place and 18 million. Even though Nagi is still in the safe zone with $40 million in the bank, if they mess up the next game and go down, they will end up in the 24th place, which is the danger zone. Rio explains with a hint of urgency that they need to put up results in the finals. They need to keep going strong. Nagi interrupts him and tells him that he's been thinking for a while. He tells Rio that they need to change. This shocks Rio, and he remembers reading a comment saying that Nagi looks like someone important only when he's surrounded by rookies. Nagi explains that he's been feeling a bit off his game since the last match they won, and he can't get that drive back no matter what he does. He's feeling lost. Rio remembers reading a couple of more comments cheering Nagi on and telling him to survive, even cheering his return to soccer and also complimenting him on his wonderful goal, bidding him good luck. But Nagi says that the moment he fell behind, his opponents are getting much further ahead, and if they don't keep changing, they will never reach the world's best spot. A weird flame flickers around Nagi. Rio looks at him in stunned silence as he says that they need to change. He needs new ways, a new drive, and Rio locks in, saying that he has an idea. Meanwhile, at the German team monitor room, Noah is debriefing his players about the style and the number of options they have. He explains that based on the basic form of offense and defense, it will be that strategy. And he will say it only once. Whoever comes in second will not be remembered. If they're not number 1, they won't leave their mark on this world. Noah tells everyone to win this no matter what. They won't leave their mark in history. Isagi enthusiastically agrees. Noah then tells them that he is heading to bed, but a dark shadow tells him to wait. Ego arrives around the corner and Noah gives him the charge, but Ego tells them to shut it and tells Noah to go to bed. Noah immediately complies, and everyone looks at Ego in surprise. Ego calls them diamonds in the rough, and he always wanted to say a few words before the finals. He explains that when the Nego Aegis League started, everyone was given a key, and he asked them if they remembered. Some of them don't, but some of them do. It was proof of originality. He agrees, saying that he is hitting the barrier of the real world. As they continue to fight through the bidding system, he asks them what originality means to them. Isagi looks at him in surprise, and Raichi and Corona now wonder what he is yapping about, personal play style or muddy. But Ego says they are only superficial answers. Originality means hunger. Isagi looks at him in surprise as he continues that they weren't born with hunger. It wasn't taught to them, but they still hunger for something. He asks them what they hunger for. After all, it makes the original user's personality traits. If they want to win against the Neo-Egoist League, they will have to calmly commit to a required rule. He further explains that they can follow their ideals and voluntarily destroy and recreate themselves over and over again. But they have been forced to ask what they want to do. Do they want to be a regular, or desperately try to survive, or just beat that guy? Do they want to stand on top of the world? These desires and hungers are what motivate them to be better players. It is their own version of originality. And he also tells them that the world is wilting and holding their breaths, because it will be a very challenging journey to focus. He further continues that the ones who keep fighting through the curious, continuous frenzy, he will call them professionals, and he calls them his hungry egoist, asking them if they are ready to shine bright like a diamond. The final fight is about to begin at the Pentagon Stadium. Blue Lock TV fans from around the world are gathered around their screens. It's the last day of the Neo-Egoist Blue League. This is a night match. Spain's FC Barça versus England's Man City. The crowd is pumped to see bastard Munchen face off against their competitors. PXG fans are holding their breaths, looking at their screens and wanting their favorite team to win. The ratings will decide who wins and who doesn't. Mr. Buratsuda arrives, wondering if they realize what worldwide football stars are doing. He explains to the boardroom that they have finally passed 100 million subscribers. Bluetooth TV is on the verge of becoming the world's greatest sports and entertainment network. Fatigue starts to moonwalk, imagining himself as Michael Jackson, saying that the birth of this generation's new superstar is around the corner, and they need to ride the wave. Because when he emerges from the U20 World Cup, they will have to give his plan a try. A mysterious figure is called the chairman of the International Football Association. He wonders if he's talking about capitalism, and if so, then he'll listen. He explains that cardio and pulmonary functions are good, but muscle mass and movement data are the most important things. All of the data scientists show that Noah is a player according to his age. Ego tells them to continue experimenting. They will have a catalyst to produce the world's greatest. Kunigami is hooked up to several tubes and vials, as Ego tells him to abandon his ego and become selfless. Kunigami agrees, and the match is about to get underway. Ness and Raichi are facing off again in this mock battle. Noah explains that they will be aggressively swapping out players left and right. In response to changing conditions, he wants to test the outer limits of the team's fighting methods, as well as see if those on the bench are better or a waste of space. He tells his team to win this match no matter what. Everything is at stake. Isagi takes a deep breath, trying to calm himself. He tells himself that if they don't win, it will all be worthless. He has made a name for himself and used himself as bait over and over again. Bit by bit, he has overcome all the hurdles thrown at him, from the front, the side, and the back. He even acquired a new weapon for himself. Referring to his world-class meta-vision, he can now even shoot from his left leg. And it is because of them that he has been able to come so far. And he really wants to be the best in the world no matter what. He takes a step forward, thinking that up till now being the world's best was a vague concept. But now thinking about it in terms of rankings. He should play as a striker, or visualize beating Rin. He imagines all of his desires and his weapons floating around in his mind space. He tries to concentrate and imagine what it means to be the world's best, as that will be his originality. The team faces off against one another. Shido approaches Kaiser, wondering what if he beats him. Then he will prove his existence to the whole world. But Kaiser just tells him to buzz off. He is not in the mood to deal with his daddy issues. Shido sticks his tongue out. Meanwhile, Isagi approaches Rin, wondering if they can really take it out to see who is number one. Rin wonders if that is the case. Even though he doesn't care about rankings, he wants one thing, and that is Isagi. He wants to crush him utterly. Rin promises to reduce him to ashes after he is done with him. The team is ready and in high spirits. Raichi is yelling his head off. Gagamaru is zoned out, and Kunigami looks like he is running on prayers and coffee. The challenges are out of the corner, and if Rin manages to win. Even though the new US League is just around the corner, he vows to surpass everything at the kickoff. Isagi smiles, ready to throw hands. And PXG is using Rin and Shido simultaneously and in harmony. So, in order to win this match, they have to be very bold against this unpredictable collaboration. Isagi looks at the field and grins as this is absolutely awesome. This will be the final battle, which will either evolve him or send him packing. This is the highest stage where the highest mentors are waiting to see them wrestle victory from their opponent's hands. Each rival is a powerhouse in his own right. Kaiser grimaces while Ness has control of the ball. Everyone is holding their breath for the kickoff, and as soon as the alarm goes off, everyone launches into action as it's time to be number one. Kaiser slams into Shido like an armored truck, causing him to yell in surprise at his ferocity. Kaiser refuses to let go of the ball and passes it to Ness. Ness gets the ball and Kaiser whirls around Shido, and Ness passes him the ball once again. As Ness sets his eyes on the ball, a dark raven flares up and intercepts the ball. It is Karasu, but Kunigami arrives to the rescue. Performing a powerful knee slam and sending the ball flying off its course, everyone looks at the ball soaring through the air, and Raichi holds his breath and sprints for the ball, but he is going up against Tsurugi. Tsurugi and Raichi go neck to neck for the ball, slamming into one another and veering it off its course. Each player has their rival at this stage. Roshi and Hiori compete for the ball. While they are competing and wrestling with one another, Nijiro takes advantage of this scuffle to kick the ball away from both of them. The ball expectedly falls back to Rin, but Isagi is not going to stay quiet and let that ball be wrestled away. He headbutts the ball and looks at Rin challengingly, telling him that the spot on number one won't be his forever. He promises to crush him. The crowd goes wild as the ball bounces away from all of these amazing players. Right from the start, an incredible exchange is going on, and they can't believe the high level of play they are witnessing. Friends all over the world are holding their breath as the ultimate battle has begun. Isagi analyzes the field and realizes that the Shido system is where attacks are centered around Shido, and the Rin system has attacks centered around him, respectively. So they will have to handle whichever formation they are using, but they weren't expecting them to use both of them simultaneously. With so many variables, the difficulty level is off the charts. The ball is thrown in, and a player intercepts the ball with Isagi yelling at his team that they can't slack off now. It's now or never. Hiori rushes in to provide support, telling his buddies not to withdraw the defensive line, but to restrict their movements with a pincer attack. They can barely keep up with their current players and skill set. Isagi realizes that they are improvising at this point, and takes a breather, realizing that the most important rule for this team is not to let him do what he wants. Referring to Charles, the youngest passer in this tournament, Charles has started acting up. Raichi is wary of him. If he gets the ball, he will instantly boost PXG's passes and attacks. So everyone is trying to keep their awareness in the back of their mind. Isagi looks at a rock and wonders if he is asking for a pass, but he is not even at the line, and he is starting to move. He looks at Raichi, trying to block him, but he has a gut feeling that Charles is a fellow user of meta-vision. Sure enough, Charles will pass Raichi, and Isagi uses his own meta-vision to see that a perfect off-the-back move is executed. The player with the ball sends the ball cruising to Charles, and that is the timing he wants. But Isagi arrives in the nick of time, managing to sway the ball in the opposite direction. He smiles with satisfaction, and Charles looks at him in awe, saying that that was awesome. He even gives him a weird nickname. Isagi looks at him cautiously, wondering what is up with his cowlick. Isn't he slick? Charles also says that he is using the same eyes as him. He basically confirms that he is using metavision. Grimm passes the ball with an amazing header to Ness. Charles looks at him teasingly, saying that he doesn't like wrestling but is more of a board game kind of man. He challenges Isagi to see who can read the field better. The ball passes from Ness to Kaiser, and Kaiser intercepts it with Ness running towards him. The plan is in motion after simulating TXG's attack power. They are factoring in the fact that Isagi is trying to boost their defense. All Kaiser has to do is scoop up the loose ball, and Grimm and Kaiser, along with him, will make a counterattack together. They will take control of the midfield, and then he will be able to cast a spell. Roshi arrives, looking at him uncertainly, and saying that he is going to catch up, but Isagi is visibly shaken because he is in his way. He wonders if it should dribble around him, but that would give Isagi time to read his way. Tsurugi also arrives, zooming in. In the last second, Ness manages to freestyle the ball towards Kaiser, not wanting to waste any more time. Kaiser intercepts the ball and activates his metavision, but the other players try to block him as they are wary of him. Kawasu tells Kaiser to bring it on, and Nijiro is all up for the challenge, promising to survive no matter what. There is even another defender behind the two. It's an impossible spot for anyone, but Kaiser still gives it his all. First, he keeps the two players at bay and dribbles the ball with surgical precision. He grits his teeth in frustration and homes in on the goal post. He only has one chance for a Kaiser impact, but Rin arrives, sliding the ball away from him. Everyone holds their breath in surprise as a voice tells him that if he can't make the shot, he is not worth anything. Rin arrives in his majestic way, grabbing the ball and asserting his dominance on the field. The two opposing kings stand off against one another, whereas Rin says that his shooting point is very obvious. Kaiser can't believe what he is hearing. He wants to yell that this field is his kingdom, and he will smash apart anyone who tries to usurp him. Rin dashes away with the ball, and the others try to get ready for his incoming onslaught. Hiori and Kunigami are trying to intercept the ball, but Rin is just too powerful. He dances around them, and Raichi is forced to admit that he is good. He is blowing through the field all by himself. The Nas can't believe the speed, technique, and reading ability he possesses, and wonders if this is Blue Lock's #1. Then Charles gets into position, and Roshi is also in his usual formation. Rin is surrounded by all of his auxiliaries. Nijiro tells him to count on him. 15 days before this match, at the French training grounds, Nijiro was bowing in front of Rin, pleading with him to make him his disciple, and Rin coldly told him no, he is not interested. Nijiro was so desperate that he clung to his legs, saying that it is going to end up with him never playing in a match if things go as it is, and he is begging Rin. His ball touching, passing, and everything sucks, replies Rin, and wonders why he has to help him. What will he gain? He should just get lost. But Nijiro wants to do anything he can because he wants to survive the league, and he is offering everything to him. Rin takes a moment to contemplate, and tells him that he will throw him away if he is not useful. He needs to run 3 more times than the others and train himself exactly as he says. Nijiro smiles, and from then on he is branded as Rin's property. Nijiro dribbles the ball back to Rin, and Rin looks at him, wondering which is his dominant leg. He explains that his leg is right, and Rin wonders who told him that. Nijiro reasons that since he holds his chopsticks in his right hand, he figured that that must be the case. But Rin tells him that when it comes to his left leg and how to use his body, it has gotten to the same level as his right leg in this short time. Nijiro can't believe it. As Rin explains, he naturally favors his left, so it's not even more or less. He just didn't realize it because he sucks. Maybe his body is ambidextrous. Presently, Nijiro is falling close behind Rin. After all, he discovered his hidden ability, and he doesn't care if he sucks or if he is unpolished. He will use his right and left equally to become an unpredictable tornado. He befriends 2 players, realizing that he will be crushed. But it doesn't matter if he can help Rin score. He will survive as a post. Rin gets the ball and tells Nijiro that he has talent, and it looks like he will be useful after all. As he is about to shoot, Kaiser arrives, refusing to let him have his way. Rin also arrives, telling him that he can't shoot no matter what. They pounce on him like hungry dogs, refusing to let him make the shot. Rin, on the other hand, says that he is going to shoot, and he was waiting just for this moment. Isagi wonders what's up with that. In a cold moment, Rin grabs Isagi by the scruff of his neck, telling him that he will have the best seeds available to see him become the world's best. He picks Isagi up like a kitten, telling him to see as he makes history. He shoots the ball, but Hiori manages to intercept it, teasing #1 and 2 to stop flirting around. All 3 of the kings look at him in surprise. As Hiori says, his setup was obvious, and he could predict the punchline. He was trying to lure Isagi in just to show off his shot. And if he wants to goal, he must come up with an unpredictable script. Rin clicks his teeth in frustration while Isagi grins. The ball is in the air once again, and Raichi yells, grabbing everyone's attention. Nijio looks at the ball, clearly troubled, but Isagi is still glad that he has Hiori by his side. Hiori managed to anticipate what he couldn't. He even saw the possibility that he would be overtaken by Rin, and without any wasted movement, he rushed in to intercept the shot. Isagi looks at him in surprise. He understood his field of vision, and moved that way because they shared the same visualization. He also realizes that since the start of this game, every player has been on their toes, and all their plays have been high level. All 22 players on this field are executing 100% of what they can and have prepared. This final match is beyond expectations. It is a match between the best 11 on 11. Karasu intercepts the ball and looks at Hiori, teasing him that he just looked away for a minute, and he has already turned manly. Hiori wonders if that's a problem, but Karasu tells him that it doesn't matter. He's been waiting for it. Hiori wonders what's up with him. Is he fruity or something? Raichi yells at his team that they are still coming. They must watch out for the second wave. The ball is with Karasu. Isagi tries to use 100% of his brain to read and predict what is about to happen. He imagines the field as a puzzle where everyone is a pawn playing at 100% capacity. Karasu moves the ball away from his opponents with a backhand pass. Loki looks at his team flourishing and realizes that everyone on the field is fired up. So now it's time for the god of mischief to arrive. All of the blue lockers hold their breath as they were so focused on guarding the goal and making a name for themselves. They forgot about Charles for a moment, and that is their biggest mistake. He is free and gets the ball, and they wonder if he will shoot or not, or if it will be a pass. Charles shoots the ball with such power and unpredictable trajectory that it whizzes past all of the players, including Rin. It's a backhand curvy ball, and the ball goes over 30 meters, which is very unpredictable for anyone. Shido manages to get the ball, and Isagi can't believe that he is reacting at full speed, and Shido isn't even looking at the ball. Charles smiles, wondering if there is someone who can match his freak, and Shido wonders if he is for real. This is his ultimate good spot. Isagi wonders if this is improvisation, or if this is what they ultimately wanted. He realizes it's the same as back then, with what happened with him and Hiori. This is ultimate resonance, and Shido soars through the air like a demon, hitting the ball with a header and slamming the ball into the goalpost. Charles smiles as it is only possible because of their ultimate resonance. With a rock and diving header so explosive that no one is able to stop it, PXG manages to score a goal. Charles smiles. His shots were like passing thread through a needle, and Shido managed to still intercept the ball and make the shot. They start celebrating, and Shido laughs hysterically, telling Charles that he is absolutely awesome, even though he is small. Charles also celebrates, saying that he is all right for a pink pervert. He is awesome and really understood what he was going for. They continue their bromance in peace, rustling each other's hair, complimenting one another. Charles says this is the first time that someone has received one of his perverted passes. And Shido laughs, saying that the pervert-demon combo is unstoppable. They proudly claim to be perverts and the ultimate duo. Loki smiles, looking at the unlikely duo to ally. Noah, on the other hand, looks at him cautiously as Loki reveals that to awaken Charles's unbalanced abilities, he tried all sorts of things in the match up till now, and he has finally produced a chemical reaction. He just needed a high-level setting, and the Neo-Egoist League is now getting interesting. After all, a Neo-Striker can propel Charles to greater heights. And once Charles matures, the day will arrive when he surpasses Noah. Isagi, on the other hand, is on his knees, and Raichi is trying to play the victim card, saying that was a foul or something. He is yelling like a Karen, saying that he pulled Isagi's uniform, but Isagi doesn't think that it's a foul. After all, he pulled him first, and since Ren had the ball, he used that to his advantage. The committee reviews the goal, again, and verdicts that the goal is valid. Isagi, on the other hand, just wants to analyze the goal and the formula. He walks away thinking that there's no denying it, even though they were coordinating as perfectly as they could. But since they couldn't stop the insane coordination between the two dark horses, it was all for nothing. But it also means that the 100% individual skills that they've practiced won't be enough to score goals. He realizes that this sort of play that they've scored in other matches won't cut it out in this one. Everyone is operating at a higher dimension. Even though they were cautious of Charles, they were still defeated. It just means that the tiny monster is still developing. Isagi realizes that the player seems to be mocking the visualization of everyone on the team. After all, he unexpectedly passed the ball to someone very unreliable, and Shido intercepted it with an explosive header. And looking at their reaction and interaction, their coordination wasn't planned or practiced. It was just an overlap of their respective peak performance. It's just like when he resonated with Hiori. The selfishness collided and overlapped. And thanks for sharing the visualization of the ultimate play. He also realizes that this is a hellhole where each one is a demon, and at this stage they require a similar chemical reaction. Hiori says that if that's the standard, then they might as well be in hell. Hiori tells him that they have to change their thinking, and they need to go over things once again. He asks Isagi if he's up for it. Isagi agrees, saying that he wants to figure out what peak performance is. Hiori tries to review this case, saying that the most important thing is hunger and what they have to do right now. First comes hunger, then a suitable goal for them to pursue, and then implementing it into a flow state. They can then break through their imagined ultimate challenge and arrive at peak performance. Isagi is thankful that Hiori is analyzing each aspect, but this goal right now was not the fruit of a single player's peak performance, and Hiori agrees, saying that they need to coordinate with someone else's peak performance. Noah looks at them, telling the duo to recreate it. He tells them that the two of them should be able to make an ultimate attack that surpasses the one from the last game. He also explains that the two are harmonizing, and if they don't put a stop to their imagination, they will end up awakening further and become unstoppable. So he's going to make a position change. He tells Kunigami to cover the pink-headed demon and steal away his freedom. Kunigami obliges, and Isagi tells him that he's counting on him, while Kunigami tells him to shut it. The time for their counterattack is just around the corner. The trio walks slowly towards the middle field, and Raichi is still yelling that PXG has a point on them. They have to make a comeback or go home. Gagamaru promises to stop the next one. Ness is ready to throw hands. Meanwhile, Roshi looks around, wondering what this is all about. Nijiro tells Roshi they can't be happy for Shido's goal. Roshi timidly says that he wants to help Rin score. They have to make him the hero, or their ranking won't go up. Nijiro agrees, saying that if Rin sings, they will sing along with him. Charles, on the other hand, is still acting freaky, licking his lips and smiling. Rin tells Shido that he is an eyesore at best, and Shido retorts that he is just jealous. Isagi, on the other hand, agrees with Rin that he is an eyesore. Even Kaiser tells him that his pink hair is stupid. He promises to leave him in the dust as the game starts. Shido tells him to bring it on. He is popular and flashy, and Kaiser can do nothing. The ball passes between Kaiser and his duo, while Isagi jogs towards the ball, wondering about his ultimate weapon with Hiori. He finally understands it, but he needs to reach his pre-performance, and it's not simple. He needs enough information to predict the field's future, and it's not a matter of pursuing his own pleasure. He needs to know more about the world than anyone else. He pauses for a moment and wonders if it's only because he wants his ultimate stage. But everyone has a different process, and we have concentrated. He comes up with a theory that peak performance is split into two categories. The first is like Shido ignoring everyone's surroundings to pursue their pleasure, and the other is calculating the environment to determine the world's essence. If he phrases it in a better way, one is a self-style ego and the other is a world-style ego. It doesn't matter which is good and which is not. It's all about the mentality that lets them tap into their latent potential, and his own theory of personality and character types is evolving. The self-type ego values themselves the most. The world's rules are secondary, and the spontaneous type uses their abilities by coming to terms with their own feelings, and the other one is the worldview ego, which looks at the world through a kaleidoscope vision. This style thrives in relation to their own feelings, sensitivity, and using their abilities, which is valued by the rest of the world. So if he applies that, Bachiyara and Barou are self-type egos. Nagi and Zentetsu are also in the same category. On the other side, Karasu, Hiori, Ryo, and Isagi are from the worldview. He wonders if Kaiser is a world style, as he is fixated on trophies. He then finally wonders what about Rin. He doesn't know, and he needs more information to analyze him. To read the field and reach his peak performance, he needs to determine everyone's worldview so that he has more pieces to play with and he can reach his own ultima. The ball changes hands over and over again until it reaches Hiori. Hiori manages to wrestle the ball away. He tries to recreate the goal, but he can't pass to Isagi, so he needs to take the image of the world's best and smash them together. But Charles arrives like a phantom, telling him he has good eyes. Hiori can't believe that this kid anticipated his goal. Raichi curses. Hiori is in hot pursuit, realizing Charles can use metavision as well, and they can't change anything until they beat Charles. The goal curves towards Shido, and Shido wonders if they are going to have another. But Kunigami uses his explosive demon technique to pass by Shido, calling him a pathetic loser hero. He blocks him from getting the ball, and Raichi yells at him that he's done an ultimate job. But surprisingly, Charles is still in the game, and so is Shido. They refuse to give up even though things seem impossible. As the match intensifies by the minute, all of the players glue their eyes on the ball soaring through the air, and Ness intercepts it with a world-class pass. He quickly decides to pass over the ball to Grimm, and Grimm doesn't keep it more than a second and passes it in a blazing arc towards Kaiser. Kaiser is staring through the field, ready to make a name for himself once again, but two knuckleheads would rather die than let him score. Kunigami and Shido arrive, tackling each other like barbarians, but Kunigami manages to deflect the ball to Raichi. Raichi grins as he finally has some action, but before he can do anything, Charles arrives and snatches the ball from under his nose, telling him he's only a meaty shield meant for shoving into matches to buy time. Charles murks, calling him a sweaty duel bro. Raichi is so infuriated he's on the verge of having a stroke. Hiori, on the other hand, realizes this is bad. He also curses, for only if he had backed up Raichi, they could have had the ball in their possession. But it's too late now. His thoughts are all over the place. He doubts his ability to outweigh him, and if he will ever be able to catch up to Charles's imagination. He is Picasso when it comes to football, and while he's looking for chances, he needs to think 2 steps ahead. Hiori also realizes his own limitations, and it's hard, even impossible, from the get-go. Because Charles doesn't play around, he kills on sight. Fighting him is like dying over and over again until they can find an effective method. He's like an impossible-to-beat video game boss, the big baddie at the end. But sure enough, the boss makes the game interesting. Hiori vows that he will beat Charles no matter what and clears the situation for his king. Charles smirks as if sensing what Hiori is thinking. Isagi tries to intercept him, but Rin doesn't let that be. He tells Charles to hand over the ball, and Charles smirks. Surprisingly, instead of handing it over to Rin, he dribbles away from both of them, saying that he's just a boring knob. Isagi grits his teeth in frustration, as he has once again used Rin as bait to dribble past them. Hiori crutches up to Charles, telling him not so fast as he's predicted this outcome. Charles, on the other hand, just smiles, telling him that he's doing good for a starry-eyed kid. But he's the one who's to step behind. He makes it impossible to predict a pass. An outside cross kick from such a distance that it is unthinkable. Isagi looks at the ball in horror as it arcs towards Shido. Isagi realizes that Charles is only toying with them, and he can't outwit them. Right now, the whole field is in his grasp. Kunigami, on the other hand, refuses to let his fellow meathead get the ball. With a ferocious kick, he manages to stop it, and Hiori looks at him in surprise. He wasn't anticipating that. Charles is dumbstruck. How can he overtake Shido, the only one who can match his freak? Isagi is glad that Kunigami was able to intercept it, but Kunigami falls from the force of the kick. He's been covering Shido from the start of the match, and it's clear as day that his performance is off the charts on a higher level. So the plan makes use of his physique so that he can stay on Shido. But it looks like he has some personal feelings of revenge towards his fellow meathead, and that is drawing out his peak performance. After all, a man who is true to his sense of justice is an unchained beast, and Kunigami is an emotional creature, so his mentality is the self-styled ego. Isagi feels himself unraveled. As the game starts to make sense, he realizes Kunigami's deal. He also recalls a much calmer Kunigami thanking him for the pass, realizing that he's the same since back in the day. He really does have a fiery heart, and that fiery heart keeps him alive. His ego is burning and enabling him to play at a higher dimension than the others. He then looks at Hiori, who is sweating like crazy. He has also realized that Kunigami is all over Shido, and that has decreased Charles's roles and options. So all he needs to do is take advantage of this situation and change the balance of the field. Shido grins, telling Kunigami that he's a pain in the bottom. Kunigami, on the other hand, wonders if that's all he's got. Can he live up to his name of an explosion demon? He also taunts Shido, saying that his tears are drenching his passion. This infuriates Shido and clouds his judgment. Isagi zooms towards Kunigami, asking him what he's talking about. He would have misfired too if it weren't for his assist. Kunigami looks at him in surprise, wondering what's up with him. Why is he busting his chops? Isagi asks Kunigami for help with his explosion. He runs past Kunigami, telling them that they should each stick together. Kunigami looks at him in surprise, wondering if he's lost it. Isagi, on the other hand, realizes that if their opponents are using the ultimate chemical reaction, then they will produce an even greater ultimate reaction. The best of the best, a triple flow chemical reaction that will comprise Kunigami, Hiori, and himself. All of the players are cheering for their respective kings, as Kiora and Karasu are going neck to neck for the ball. Karasu seems to have the upper hand, with Kiora struggling a bit. Charles, on the other hand, is hot on his trail, but he looks over his shoulder and notices Hiori following him close behind. His eyes burn with the determination to outwit Charles no matter what. Hiori realizes that he needs to effectively use this movement, while Kunigami is blocking Shido. As it is clear that Charles likes passing to Shido, now he will have no other option but to pass it to Rin, and he is also certain that he might look for someone else. He tries to home in on who will be his next target. Will it be Rin, or maybe he will go through with Nanise or someone else? Hiori tries to home in on who will be the best choice for the pass. He also reprimands himself for being a dumbass because he can't beat Charles with this level of thinking. He needs to think deeper. He needs to think just like Charles. How would a contrarian think? He racks his brain trying to come up with the answer and trying to emulate his way of thinking. He passes it to Charles, and Charles smiles, telling Karasu he's done a great job. He looks at the ball soaring through the area. Kunigami, on the other hand, is all over Shido, managing to keep him at bay. Kaiser realizes this is the best time to act. He tells Ness there is time, and he needs to get his mind in the game. Ness is all ready to serve his king and glaze him. They both zoom towards the ball. As the trio is zooming towards the ball, Charles wonders what the hell is going on with this rosy duo. Rin runs past Charles, looking at him with longing. Charles smiles, telling Rin that he is just where he wanted to be. But once again, like a naughty child, he uses Rin as bait and kicks past Ness. Ness and Kaiser look at the ball going away and wonder what the hell is going on. They've closed off this course to Shido. Charles smiles like a maniac, saying that he's not aiming for Rin. They realize that the course for the ball has been closed by 99%. But Hiori manages to surpass his limits and think like Charles. He intercepts the ball, expecting it. He smiles, saying that he's cracked the code, and normally nobody would be able to take the shot. But with his rotten personality, only he could do it. Hiori grimaces, saying that he's figured out how to beat that comedian. Charles looks at him in disbelief, calling him creepy. Rin, Shido, and Kaiser are speechless at Hiori's latest performance. Isagi, on the other hand, feels as if the world is unraveling around him. Hiori is winning and the field is going to turn. He feels a vortex trying to suck them in. Hiori tells Isagi to snap out of it. It's time to move. Raichi, on the other hand, is still furious about being called a meat shield. He tries to get on with the counterattack. Shido and Kunigami rush towards the ball. Raichi, on the other hand, is grumbling to himself that he's not a meat shield, meant for shoving duels. He passes the ball spectacularly to Hiori and tells him to go faster than ever. But a weird presence tells him not to celebrate so fast. Rin appears in front of him, with eyes blazing in determination. He tells Hiori to watch out where he's going. Karasu smiles, saying that he will beat him to a mush. Najiro also runs towards them, vowing not to let them pass. Tsurugi is also trying to block off Hiori. 3 players are trying to block Hiori, as they have deemed him to be a high-priority target. Hiori, on the other hand, is ready for all 3 of them, even teasing them that they should watch where they're going. They look at him, whirl around, and pass with a rapid cross. The ball shoots past them, and they can't believe that peak performance shot. The ball arches towards Isagi, and Isagi is ready to get it, because it's time to continue their ultimate play and evolve further. The ball zooms towards Isagi, and Isagi is ready to get the pass he was promised 3,000 years ago. The ultra-serious pass is coming through with a killer cross, setting up the stage for Isagi to steal the show. Hiori looks at him in surprise, relaying with his eyes that the pass is coming, and Isagi is ready, it's now or never, to deliver his own top performance. He's concentrating on the ball, and all the blockers are trying to get in his way, but Isagi is too fast to be caught by slowpokes like them. He zooms past them, and Shidao is also trying to get a piece of him. He smiles threateningly at Isagi, and Isagi realizes he has to be better than that hot-headed demon. So he just zooms away from Shidao, and Kunigami arrives, keeping that explosive demon on bay, and passing the ball to Isagi with a marvelous header. He tells Isagi that now they're even. Isagi realizes that that's the ego he wants to see, That's the chemical reaction he's been craving. His eyes burn with desire as he looks at Kunigami going down. Until now, Kunigami has been refusing to pass the ball to him and has been trying to score by himself. That's why no one could predict that he would pass the ball to him. That's the top performance combo that they could create. The goal box is wide and clear, and Isagi is in his zone. He's getting on in his groove, but before he can take the shot, a dark and ominous shadow calls out to him, saying that he's too lukewarm. It turns out rain is hot on his trail, and his eyes are burning with fury as he reminds him not to forget about him. He hears another ominous shadow call out to him, and it turns out it's Kaiser. All three of the kings are after the ball, trying to make a name for themselves. Isagi looks at them in horror, realizing that things are turning south. He can't believe that he's been focusing on his own movements, and that's why he couldn't react to their approach quickly. Instead of reading the game's flow and situation, they were focusing their play in a strategy to destroy him. Isagi looks at him in surprise, realizing that's their top performance. He looks at the ball drawing closer and wonders what he should do. Should he abort the mission? Should he go through? Because he'll reach the ball first. A voice inside of him tells him to shoot with everything he's got, to destroy every half-assed shot that he can come up with. Kaiser, on the other hand, wants him to trap the ball so that Kaiser can steal it and shoot. Isagi racks his brain cells, trying to come up with an answer. Should he use a right direct or a left direct? A bright light blazes around him as he decides to create a new attack, right there and right then. He wheels his left leg over the ball, spinning it at a high speed. Rin wonders if this is a fake left, and Kaiser is glad, thinking that his time is about to come. But he doesn't know that instead of trapping the ball, Isagi gives it his all and shoots it like a missile. The ball slams against the goal post, and Isagi earns their team another goal with his new two-gun volley shot. The announcer yells out, "There's a goal for Bastard Mansion," and the crowd goes wild all around the world. Teenagers scream, and kids squeal in joy at the amazing goal that Isagi has scored. He has pulled off an otherworldly mid-air direct shot, and that has brought Bastard Mansion to a tie. Isagi yells at the top of his lungs, celebrating his newfound victory and respect. Meanwhile, Kaiser and Rin scream in horror and despair. The other players can't believe what Isagi has pulled off, switching his shooting foot mid-air. Another one calls him a monster. Isagi, on the other hand, is still having his stroke, celebrating his victory. Another player realizes that Isagi is still evolving at a breakneck pace. Shido, on the other hand, is glad to witness such a fantastic explosion of passion. Kunigami looks at him from a distance, telling him not to expect more passes from him. He looks at him coldly, calling him an over-dependent egoist. Isagi returns his gaze, saying that they will keep devouring each other. Hiori, on the other hand, is celebrating the goal as he jumps on his shoulders and tells him that that was amazing. Isagi smiles and dabs him up, telling him that that goal was heavenly. Hiori grins, wondering how much did he really visualized. Did he anticipate his alley cross and Kunigami's assist? Isagi fist bumps his bro, telling him that he believes he will send the perfect pass. And Kunigami's assist was a wild card, but he had realized his mindset. Kunigami was running up and down the field to contain Shido, so there was a high chance of him being involved in a situation like this, and he was probably the only one who believed that he could duel against Shido. Hiori realizes that he has combined 3 wild cards to bring out an otherworldly goal. It's something only he can pull off, and that must be his ultimate trump card. Isagi looks away, nervously, saying that he's wrong. He doesn't plan on scoring this way for long. Hiori wonders why, when it's working. Isagi explains that he saw himself being wide open after he broke through the fence, and he didn't expect Rin and Kaiser to close in like that. As he had to improvise on the fly, the attack that inspired him to pull off this move was Nagi's juggling shot. Hiori cocks his hat in confusion, recalling the shot Nagi made against them. Isagi agrees, saying that he had that image in his mind. That's why he had to improvise after those two killed his options. He was able to recall that and recreate it. Hiori looks at him in surprise, realizing the shot was a combo of Nagi's creativity and his own direct shot. Isagi agrees, saying that he stole that move from Nagi, and it's true that he wouldn't have been able to pull off something like that. He imagines 2 desert eagles blazing behind him. Now he is an ambidextrous killing machine. Hiori takes a moment to soak it all in, realizing it means no matter which direction a defender comes from to block a shot, he can fake them in mid-air and shoot after they destroy his timing. and the goalkeeper will also have a hard time predicting where it will come from. Hiori tells him that if he can recreate that shot over and over again, he would be unstoppable. Isagi realizes that he has a chance to become the best in the world because he has the holy grail of shooting styles at his grasp. Noah looks at him and compliments him on his amazing shot. He tells his team that they are switching off. Now the attacks will be centered around Isagi, but now they will try to lean towards the Isagi-centric system. He also tells Grim that he is out for this round and Corona is in. Corona hops at the chance. Isagi, on the other hand, can't believe that Grim is getting pulled. Now Kaiser has lost another pawn and only has Ness to support him, whereas Isagi has gained another piece to use. Corona happily jogs towards Isagi as Grim walks away. His mood matches his name. Isagi looks at his bro in surprise, realizing Noah trusts his instincts to lead them to victory now that Corona is in the game. Corona looks at him, saying that he is going to have a much easier time controlling the game. It's time to do it. Kaiser, on the other hand, feels lost. He looks at the sky as Isagi realizes that if he scores another goal, he will be able to crush Kaiser completely and utterly, and he will be able to take over the team as well. If only he can score another goal, he will surpass Grim and become the best player in the Nigo Egoist League. Isagi steals his resolve, realizing that he still needs to make the twin gun shot his own. He can visualize it clearly. His goal of being the best player in the world is around the horizon, and he needs to hurry up and restart the game to get there faster. Kaiser is scratching the tattoo on his neck over and over again. He can't believe that Isagi is having an awakening. He recalls Isagi's world-class shot that he used against himself. His value as a striker has skyrocketed, and he is going to take over the team. Kaiser wonders if he is going to be buried, if he will lose to Isagi. Ness looks at his hero, wallowing in despair. He is also shaken to the core as he is the only one left in the formation. Kaiser tells him to shut it and just move on. Kaiser vows to send Isagi into the deepest pit of despair, and he needs to perfect that impossible weapon as well. After all, everything that he has is being stolen by Isagi. As soon as the game restarts, Rin takes the lead, zooming through the field with his ball. Charles waves his hands, trying to catch Loki's attention and ask him to swap him out. Rin wonders why. All of the players look at him in surprise as Charles says that Shido is being blocked, so his passes won't go through. And this is boring for him, so he needs to quit. Loki is on the verge of having a stroke. He can't deal with this sassy brat's tantrums anymore. Raichi and Hiori are all over Rin's trail, trying to keep him from passing the ball with a double press. Rin grits his teeth in frustration, and his buddy calls him out, telling him to pass the ball as the tables have turned. Corona, on the other hand, arrives and snatches the ball while teasing his opponents at the same time. He zooms past a few defenders and locks in on Isagi. He passes the ball to Isagi, but before it can reach its target, Kaiser arrives and snatches the ball mid-air. Shocking Corona, Kaiser calls out to Ness without turning to look at him. It's time for the Magnus effect. He grins crazily, getting ready to retake his position as the leader of the team. 10 days before the German team's match, they were in the field and practicing their shots. Ness was stretching his arms and wondering about the Magnus effect. Kaiser explains that normally a kicked ball will be influenced by the air flowing around it, and that's why it rotates up and down. He explains the mechanics of a ball, where air causes it to spin. At the same time, the power becomes stronger. The flow of air and the direction of the ball's rotation are different, and the power becomes weaker. So it tilts, and the direction goes stronger, and that is the Magnus effect, where it floats up, and the trajectory bends. Ness realizes what he's talking about, and Kaiser gets up, saying that up till now, his shots rely on speed and force, and a straight trajectory. But this new technique will add rotation to his Kaiser impact. He looks at the ball and tells Ness that he just needs to know where to kick the ball, and he needs to hone it to perfection. He locks in at a target and surprisingly kicks it in a blazing arc that goes straight into the goalpost. With Kaiser's impact, speed, and force, it has turned into a banana shot, arching like a boomerang around all the players. Ness looks at his hero in surprise, wondering if this is the magic he's been seeking all his life. With this, he can shoot even if a direct line to the goalpost is blocked off. Kaiser smiles, saying that this is just the beginning. This was the ideal scenario where the ball was set up for him to aim perfectly, and Ness realizes what he's saying. He needs to get used to a game where the ball is constantly moving, and that will be insanely difficult. It's a high-risk and high-reward strategy. Ness and Kaiser pass the ball among each other over and over again, and Ness grins, realizing they're perfect. This new weapon is just what they need to make a name for themselves. Kaiser blocks in and looks at 3 defenders and 2 other players trying to block him from every side. But the conditions have already aligned. It's time for the Carnage Festival to begin. He looks at the ball and empties his mind of all lingering thoughts. The ball is still moving, and that doesn't matter because he locks in on a tiny target on the ball and shoots with everything he's got. The ball follows an impossible trajectory, zooming towards the goal. Right. He looks at the ball in surprise, wondering where it is going. Nijiro can't believe what he's witnessing, and Kaiser prays to the heavens above that the ball bends to his whim. The ball does bend, but several meters away from the goal, Ness looks at the ball in horror, realizing there wasn't enough spin. Isagi wonders how Kaiser can mess up a shot. Kaiser collapses right there and right then, as he can't believe what he's feeling at the moment. He yells his heart out of frustration, and Isagi realizes that Kaiser is falling apart, unraveling. Episode beings and an orc-like man is busy choking a child with one hand and chugging a Lone Star beer in the other. The boy he's choking is none other than Michael Kaiser. A blast from the past reveals Michael Kaiser's miserable start in an oppressive high school with an abusive dad. The child looks at his father with tears streaming down his eyes and a look of betrayal flashing across his face. His childhood is the worst thing a child could ever endure. His father was a small-time theater director, and his mother was one of the lead actresses. Maybe it was romance or a casual fling, but due to one passionate night together with no protection whatsoever, Kaiser was born into this wretched world to a mother who abandoned the boy as well as the father. Soon afterwards, the mother became a star actress, while his father was thrust into the shadow of his mother's success. He was a husk of his former self, living in a shabby and filthy apartment. His life spiraled into an endless cycle of self-destruction. Kaiser would huddle in a corner, trying to shrink himself from his father's gaze because he was a deadbeat alcoholic man who would beat the stuffing out of him every chance he got. That's how young Michael Kaiser grew up, and unfortunately for the boy, there was no other place he could go to, no one to turn to. His fat pig of a father would tell him to go to work. In other words, he just meant for the boy to go out and steal something. Kaiser would look up through his long, uncut hair. He would go into the store just around the corner and would steal everything from food to everyday appliances, and if he failed to bring anything back, his father would yell at him and beat him up. With time, the boy became an expert thief, and his sticky fingers would enable him to steal anything in plain sight. But his father would still kick him with a barrage of unrelenting kicks. Perhaps that's where Kaiser got his football skills from. He would shout at him for some milk, yelling at the little child to go steal some milk while he's at it. And how the hell can he live his life without milk? He continues to yell about milk, bringing the boy to a pulp. Even if Kaiser did his job well, the beatings and abuse would be endless. Michael was the name his mother gave him before she left, and that name was a taboo in this household. His father loathed everything connected to his mother, except for a single everlasting rose that he kept in a jar. He treasured the rose his mother had brought him when they first met, and Kaiser can't wrap his head around why he's treated like trash, but the rose gets such special treatment when they're both from the same person who ruined his father's life. He recalls his father choking him again and again, calling him a piece of garbage and yelling about the woman he loved with all his heart and how she discarded him. He continues his self-loathing episode saying no one should suffer like this. He's a sob with nothing going his way. His father's face is full of fury, and his eyes are bloodshot. He projects his low self-esteem on his son, telling him that he's at the bottom of the barrel. He's a subhuman that doesn't deserve any rights whatsoever. He continues to torment his son, calling him names like incompetent trash bag. He remembers his father's face as he choked the living daylight out of him. And he also remembers holding in tears, trying his best to be brave for his own sake. He was enduring things no man should ever endure. The only thing that kept him going was the thought that he would leave this place someday, and as he grew older, that desire only grew stronger. He remembers selling a necklace for a few quick bucks. Among the things he stole, he would secretly sell off most of them, the valuable ones, and that was his first act of rebellion. On his 12th birthday, he decided to buy something for himself, and perhaps that's where Michael actually found himself. He remembers walking through a busy alley and noticing a sports store around the corner. As he wonders what he should get himself, a bag of crisps or a can of soda, He realizes he wants something that lasts longer, and he doesn't care what he buys. After being abused and mistreated for so long, he just needs something to live for. He looks at a sparkling football in the display and realizes that's enough. He bonds with the football as if it's his long-lost brother. Whenever he throws the ball, it always flies back. When he hits the ball, instead of going away, it bounces back. And no matter how angry he gets, he can vent out his frustration on this little ball. And the ball surprisingly doesn't complain. The ball also stands by his side when he's getting his daily beatings. And when things get rough, he can always count on his ball to be by his side. He remembers curling up in the filthy apartment, cradling his ball in his arms and whispering that they're both pieces of trash, but at least they have each other. The only thought keeping the boy alive is to get out of this hellish nightmare. As he grew older, one day, a bunch of thugs robbed a neighborhood jewelry store, and one of the captured thugs named Kaiser as one of the accomplices. The police officer pulled up on his front door, asking if he knew the thief. Kaiser remembers looking at the cops in surprise. Even though he was completely innocent, he couldn't do anything, and his father was not on his side. He remembers his father slamming a glass bottle across his face, yelling at him not to steal, and how many times Willie has had to remind him. He continues to make a big deal out of it while the police try to hold him back. Kaiser looks at his idiotic father in contempt. He can't believe the irony of this situation. But as the police bring out his secret stash that he was saving up to run away, his father loses it and yells that he's been holding out on the good stuff, and how dare he hold out on all of this money. And where was he going to spend this kind of dough anyway? He yells at Kaiser that this cash belongs to him, but to Kaiser, it doesn't matter anymore. He can always regroup and make more cash. As he is escorted out of his house, the policeman looks at a football and brings it out to his dad, saying that it was lying around his bed. Other than the ball, there is no evidence of the boy, but his father looks at the ball and wonders if there's money inside it as well. As he is about to impale the ball with a broken glass bottle, Kaiser loses it and goes batshit crazy. He leaps and unleashes his first Kaiser impact, knocking a tooth out of his father in one go. The police look at him in horror as Kaiser turns into Shinra and unleashes a flurry of kicks, making short work of the policeman. The policeman brings out their arms, but Kaiser manages to make short work of them. He yells in frustration and anger. Later, he is in a holding cell and a mysterious man asks him if he loves football, and if so, then he might be able to get out of here. This man is Ray Dark, World Football Association agent. Kaiser got the blue rose tattoo shortly after as a reminder of the rose his father treasured instead of him. He remembers Ray asking him if he took down 7 police officers with only a football. Kaiser humbly replies that he just ended the fight they started. Ray decides that he is the perfect fit for the team, an aura farmer just like Piccolo, and he has been traveling the world to scout for unpolished talents just like him. He brings Kaiser to Bastard Mansion, a place where he will belong. Ray tells him to pass the pro exam. Kaiser looks at Ray and decides to do anything he can to escape from his hellish reality. As his future teammates try to greet him and strike up a conversation, Kaiser has no interest in socializing. He doesn't want to talk to anyone who is in ball shape. His teammates try to have lunch together, but to Kaiser, who has never received kindness, this looks like an act of deception. He slams the food tray on his teammate's face because he doesn't know how to receive goodwill. The teammate looks at him in a fit of fury, asking what the hell he is doing, and Kaiser makes short work of all 3 of them because he wants to live as a target for malice. But it turns out that soccer is a sport played by 11 people, and he can't fly solo. The guy who is hated doesn't get any passes, and true enough, his teammates don't give him any passes, but he's not too bothered. He realizes if he needs to succeed, he needs the ability to fight on his own. He's been a lone wolf all his life, and that won't stop now. He would train relentlessly with push-ups, leg presses, and cardio to become the ultimate that will prove once and for all that his existence matters. He slams the ball against the goalpost, vowing to make an impact. He also starts studying human psychology because what he needs is not a friend, but a dog who will submit to his malice. And that's when he met Ness, a boy left in dust by his fellow teammates. Kaiser remembers looking at Ness and deciding to make him a good test subject. His dribbling and passing skills as well as his imagination are above criticism, and the best thing is that he's isolated. The first step to get a good little dog is to erode his heart, and that's how he striked up the conversation, asking him if he believes in the impossible. Gradually, Kaiser started to understand his disposition. He remembers inspiring fear into the hearts of his enemies and staring at them with cold and calculating eyes. He decided to use victory to hurt people and wrap them in an intricate network of malice to prove his existence. That's how Kaiser became someone who took great pleasure in eroding others' hearts and living inside them as a scar, destroying everyone's dreams, rewriting their values, becoming a symbol of impossibility to bring them to the ultimate brink of despair. He believed that he was the ultimate instrument of destruction, and bit by bit, he started to feel a new sense of despair. He started to become a little human. At the same time, he would also picture his father, choking him relentlessly. He looks at the tattoo, wondering why did he hurt him so much. Instead of thanking him when he stole for him, he would hit him every day. And instead of telling him that he loved him, he called him a piece of trash. And that's when he started to do the same thing as his father. He's trying to do it to the world's best soccer players. And that's how he started to dream, to be the world's best striker. Ness headbutts the ball straight to Kaiser, and Kaiser gets it and zooms towards the goalpost, gritting his teeth in frustration and determination as he won't miss again. He's only 35 meters away from the goal, just a bit short of what he wants to do. He looks at the three defenders, looking at him like gawking idiots. But he also remembers two fellow kings ganging upon him from either side. Rin is on his left, and Isagi is on his right. Kaiser calls them cloudheads and bounces the ball into the air as all three of their feet collide. Everyone looks at the ball in anticipation. Kaiser drops his heart, realizing that his dream is being stolen and destroyed. As he tries to get up, Isagi tells him to understand that the team doesn't belong to him anymore. He looks over his shoulder and tells him to kneel, calling him a crappy clown. Noah looks at this exchange and wants Kaiser to fight with that burning ego of his. After all, evolution happens in times of distress. The meatheads are at it again. Shido and Kunigami slam into each other to gain supremacy on the ball, but the ball is loose. Kunigami manages to deflect the ball right to Kurona's spot. He manages to get to the ball again, and Kurona is ready to pass it to his king. Isagi wants to crush him and destroy him right here and right now. He can devour Kaiser if he really puts his mind to it. After all, he is unraveling and losing control of the team. He wants to see Kaiser bow before him, and if he can do it. Shake him up even more. He can get inside of his head, and if that happens, it will be easier predicting his movements, and he can use that to his advantage and link up with Hiori and Kurona. He can definitely win. Kaiser feels himself trapped in another dimension and a black hole swirling around Isagi. Isagi wants Kaiser to entertain him, just like he is dying to destroy him. Kaiser grits his teeth in frustration, and like a caged beast, he is ready to pounce at Isagi. He imagines his trashy dad in place of Isagi, and all the years of abuse he endured under his wing. It's the same irrational feeling, the sense of hopelessness that he can't change anything. Kaiser rushes in, and his thoughts are all over the place. He thought that he was over it, but because of Isagi, his very existence is starting to crumble. He needs to beat him no matter what. Ness tells Kaiser to stop and cool down. He yells at Kaiser that they have a lot of results under their belts. He has scored a goal in every league. He has an offer from the freaking LA, so he needs to calm down and not make any rash decisions. They will wait for the perfect opportunity so he can use his new weapon. Ness tries to use talk no jutsu, saying that he still has him. But Kaiser is not amused or uplifted and wonders what the hell is he talking about. If they lose, everything will disappear. Ness looks at him in despair as Kaiser runs away. The entire world is watching this match, and if he loses here, the offer from LA and being the king of the team will stop. Kaiser grimaces as every glory he has achieved will vanish in a column of smoke if he loses. He will go back to his trashy father, and he will go back to being mediocre. Kaiser slides in front of Isagi and realizes that he is afraid. He is afraid of losing everything he has built, of going back to that hellhole he escaped from. He was born from a painful exchange. That's why he would always steal, be it jewelry or goals, and he thought he was starting to feel like a human. But now he's scared of losing everything because of Isagi, and that flaw is what destroys every successful person. Ness calls out to Kaiser, as Kaiser is in the middle of having an existential crisis. He is not playing to steal the things he desires, but he's playing to keep himself from losing everything he's built. He always picked fights he knew he could win, and sat on a throne comfortably, instead of going for greater heights. He started to play safe after all. He had reached the mountaintop. There was no reason to pursue a bigger goal. But it's also true that where he is now is not the place where people will acknowledge him as the best player. Kaiser takes a deep breath and he realizes that if he tries to protect his past achievements, he can't grow any further. Kaiser feels his fire returning as he needs to get rid of everything that is holding him back. The joy that he felt while inspiring despair, his past achievements, and pride. He needs to throw everything away and become Zero Michael. A silent voice asks him what he desires the most, what does he wants to protect, and what is the origin of his ego. He remembers looking at the football for the first time and cradling it next to it, and he rushes in hot after Isagi. Isagi looks at Kaiser and realizes that something has changed. His movements are sharper, and his eyes are burning with fury and desire. Corona senses something is off and tells Isagi to speed it up. They must bust through with a combo after a combo. Isagi tries to go with the plan, but Karasu slams into him and tells him that he's in the center of the field, and if he lets Isagi take the shot with that double pistol shoot style, then it will be over for them. So he's going to crush him before he gets into the square. Isagi realizes that everyone is guarding against him, and that is expected. He passes the ball to Corona, and Corona passes it back to Isagi. Isagi leaps out of the way, and the ball passes to Hiori. Hiori smirks as all of the stars are aligned. It's go time, but before the ball can bounce back, Kaiser hijacks it. Like a lion backed into a corner, he's more dangerous than ever. Isagi looks at him in surprise. His movements have changed, and his patterns as well. He's no longer using aggressive passes, but he's making predictions for every move and taking all the players into account. It's as if he's using a cool-headed meta-press. Raichi yells, asking Kaiser to stop stealing from his teammates. Ness runs after his king, ready to accompany him to the ends of the earth. In a turn of events, Kaiser passes the ball to Raichi, and Raichi can't believe what is happening. Even Isagi is taken aback, but Kaiser runs past Raichi. Raichi wonders what the hell is going on, and Ness wonders if he is about to be replaced. But Kaiser has realized that if he wants to climb higher than he is now, he's going to have to throw away everything he's learned so far. He needs to throw away his current self and go back to when he was a nobody, when he wanted to feel alive. Kaiser looks at Raichi and pleads with him to follow him. Raichi is excited not to be used as a meat shield anymore. He passes the ball to Kaiser, saying that he has a cute side after all. Raichi is stoked that he will assist a star player in scoring a goal. His buddy can't believe that he would pass to such a trashy person. Isagi tries to wrap his head around this evolving situation. Now that he's the star of the field, he needs to use his talent while Kaiser is not looking at him. He needs to use his crisis, but it looks like Kaiser has thrown away his pride, and Isagi finds that hot. Rin, on the other hand, would rather die than let Kaiser go. He tells Kaiser that he's being too forceful with his change, and he should fork over the ball. Their legs collide, and Kaiser drops in front of Rin. Raichi yells, telling Kaiser not to waste his precious passes and telling him to get up no matter what. Kaiser gets up and finds it interesting that he no longer has an initial impulse. He no longer feels greedy on the inside like someone who has achieved something and still desires more. He feels like this is a turning point between deconstruction and reconstruction. He looks at Raichi being faithful to his role as a meat shield. Kaiser doesn't want to use his time and energy on a defensive battle. He needs to use everything he has to update himself. He needs to think differently, and that's all because of Isagi and how he steals his freedom. Raichi skips the ball away, and Karasu grits his teeth in frustration, wondering what the hell is going on with this match. Is everyone here a freaking psycho? PXG is in trouble. Ashido is locked down by Kunigami, and just when he thought that Isagi had an awakening and was getting stronger, Kaiser has started to move unpredictably. The bastards are evolving as they play. Hiori realizes that with Isagi at the center, they can use his two-gun shot, and they will form their attacks from there. While Kaiser is the second striker, he can also score goals freely. Another PXG member tries to stop Kaiser, because now that he is passing the ball to other players instead of only Ness, he is harder to pin down. And with Isagi's two-gun and Kaiser's impact, they have two cannons on their side, and this is the first time that their destructive powers are starting to resonate. The two kings are playing in harmony, and everyone holds their breath. Rin, Shido, and Kunigami look at them with anticipation. Kiora, on the other hand, looks at the two kings speeding towards his goal. He coolly and calmly calculates the borderline and how this is the perfect moment to make himself shine.